All right, y'all. I got a sick kid today. Glad that I found out Monday before I left school so I could continue to make these sub plans. I was going to make a video for you tomorrow anyway so that you could watch it tonight if you want. So I'm going to post this tonight for you to be able to watch, but I'm definitely going to have you in class on Tuesday watching this whole video right before you take the quiz, and then I'll have you take the quiz so that at least you can see what I've got on my solutions. And then I'll give you maybe like 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes to bounce off questions off each other. Unless, of course, you're not using it wisely, then the sub can just start the quiz. But you are taking the quiz on Tuesday without me here. You can do this. Look at what we're supposed to do in these problems, okay? For the first two, we said this earlier, to just plug in and then yes or no as your final solution. So this is x and y. I'm going to plug them into x and y and get 3 times -1 minus 2 times -6 is greater than 10. And then you plug that into your calculator. And literally all I want you to do here is just plug in, not that either, not that either. 3 parentheses -1 and parentheses. That's kind of hard to see, I think. I guess you'll just have to kind of do your best with it. Minus 2 times -6 and press equals, and I get 9. Okay, cool. So 9 is greater than 10, which is not true, so no. Which means for this point I would not shade towards it, just so we see what that works for graphing. Here again, 2 times 4 minus 4 less than or equal to 10. 8 minus 4 is 4. That, of course, is a yes, or true if you want, because 4 is less than 10. Doesn't have to be equal to, it can't be both, right? Right here, -5 times, again, the x value is -2 minus the y value, and I get that. This is 10 minus 4, which is 6. Again, plug that into your calculator, don't try and guess that. And 6 is not greater than 6, but it is equal to 6, so it works. Yes is the answer. Okay? All right, so for the next couple problems, we got to start thinking about how do I graph these. And for anything that's just y equals or x equals, y is always, always, always going to be a line that looks like this, and x is always, always, always going to be a line that looks like that. So y equals -2 right here, and then I put a solid line there because it's less than or equal to. That equal to tells you solid, whereas, well, yeah, that will be 2, but this is going to be a dashed line. We already did C together in class. I'll still go over it here in just a second. So I test 0, which is right here. I put 0 less than or equal to -2, which is a false statement, so that does not work, so I don't shade towards it, I shade away from it. Okay? For this problem, it's not solved for x. I got to divide by -2 first. And what you need to remember is when I divide by a negative, it flips that sign. Now -3 is right here. I'm going to put a solid line through it. And then I'm going to say 0 less than or equal to -3. No, it is not. So this is not part of the solution. On the other side it is. That's that solution. Okay? This, again, I can't graph unless I have y equals. So I'm going to take and get rid of that 2x first. We talked about this again in class. It's got to be equal to y. So y is greater than, just greater than, -2x plus 3. When you graph these y equals mx plus b, remember you always start on the y-axis, never on the x. A lot of you were trying to do that yesterday. And then this just tells you your slope. So down 2, because it's negative, right 1. And I'm going to keep doing it. Down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. And then I'm just going to draw my line, which is a dashed line. Again, because there's no equal sign attached to this. And I'm going to test 0, 0. Now I could plug it in here and get 0 plus 0 is greater than 3 and see that's not true. Or I could even plug it in here. 0 is greater than 0 plus 3, which is 3. I get the same answer. Either way, it's false, which means this is a no, so I shade away like so. Okay? All right. Hopefully that's resonating a little bit. Let's go down to the bottom problems. And I'm going to grab a different colored pen here. And start showing you how this works. So the first things first, we've got to graph this top line. And by starting again at 4, we always start at that on the number by itself on the y. And then the slope is down 3, right 1, down 3, right 1, down 3, right 1. Okay? And I've got a solid line on that. Okay? Now I'm going to test 0, 0. 0 less than or equal to 4. Right? The 0 makes this always go away. And that is true. So that means that this is a yes. So I need to shade towards that. Okay. For my other line, I know it's got to be dashed. I'm going to start at 2. And this just means 1, right? Which means up 1, right 1. You always go right. We've been saying it over and over. Now I'm just going the opposite direction to just get a few more points in there. It's a dashed line, like so. And again, test 0. Does 0, is it less than 2? Yes, it is. Just like this was a yes. So I shaded towards 0, 0 for that one. So for this one, this is a yes. So I shade towards 0, 0 for that one. And some of you don't like to do the whole thing. But what I do need to say is this should be darker than everything else. It should be obvious where they overlap. Okay? Next problem. I get 2 positive for my y, and then I go down 1, right 1. So I've got this here. I'm going to do it quite a few points here. And I'm going to go the other way too. And solid. Test 0. Is 0 greater than or equal to 2? No, it's not. So I do not shade towards this because it's a no. I shade away over here. Okay? Then my next line, I start at -1, which is right here on the y. I go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, like so. I put a dashed line because it's a less than symbol, not equal to. Okay? And then I shade, well, 0 less than -1, which is not true. So I do not shade towards 0, 0. I shade away from 0, 0. And again, I should see, without a doubt, that this is your double shaded region. Okay? All right. Last problem on this page, x is greater than 2. X, I don't know why this is a 3. That should be a C. And then x is greater than 2. Well, that's a dashed line like this. Okay? And I'm going to test 0, which is not greater than 2, so I do not put the 0 in it. I shade away. Okay. Y is -1 right here, and so that's a, in this case, solid line through it. And 0 is greater than or equal to -1, so this is in the solution, so I should be shading up here. But again, here's your clearly double shaded region. Okay. And that's it for this page. Okay, let's go on to the next page. Looks like this is going to be about a 15-minute video, which is perfect. Then you got the rest of the time to work on the homework or on the quiz. All right, so y is 3 right here. We've done a few of these now. I can solid line it. 0 less than or equal to 3. Yup, so I shade towards 0. And this is a little bit of a weird problem, but you're going to see something like this on the quiz too. There's an overlap in what's generally just the equation. So here's my point at -2, and it's a dashed line, so I'm just going to, it's a dashed line. 0 less than -2 does not work, so I do not shade towards 0, 0. I shade down here. And so what happens here is it's black there and it's red there. They just overlap in this area. That should be the darker region here, right up to the line. Okay. For B, again, you've got to have y equals to be able to graph it. So I could do C, but right now I need to minus x from both sides here to get y is greater than or equal to -x plus 2. Same thing here, -x here. I get y is less than -x minus 1. So let's graph this first one. Again, this is going to be a solid line starting at 2. And this means -1. So down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. And I put my solid line like so. Okay. All right. And 0 is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, cool. So I'm going to graph that line. 0 is greater than or equal to 2. Wait, that's not true. So I do not shade towards 0, I shade away from 0. Okay. This line, I start at -1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, and you can see what's going on here. These are parallel lines, although they are, this one is dashed. Okay. I test 0. 0 is less than or equal to -1, which is false. So I do not shade towards 0, 0, I shade away. And when they have nothing in common, we say no solution. Okay. Keep in mind there's going to be at least one of those on the real quiz too. Okay. Last problem on this part, I go to -1. I go up 1 over 2, and then I'm going to go the other way too. And for this one, it's going to be a dashed line. Okay. I test 0, and it works, so I shade up here towards 0 because this is a yes, right? And then I take the other equation, which starts here at 2 and has the same slope. So yeah, they're parallel lines. Right? This is more of a solid line because of the equals there. 0 less than or equal to 2, it works. So this works, so I have to shade the red line towards it as well. And what you'll see is the double shaded region in between them, versus here it was not in between them, right? That's the answer for that one, okay? All right, on these problems, which I know were probably the most troubling problems on here. Just a second, I need a drink. All right, so we start with y, and what we want is y equals mx plus b. Remember when we did these guys, we started here, that meant we started at -1. Right? If we start here, that means we started at 2, and then we used our slope. So look where it's starting. It's starting at 4. That's the number out here. Matter of fact, for both of them, it's that, right? Same thing on B. I've got y and y. The solid line is starting at 3, positive, right? Matter of fact, both of these 4s are positive too. The dashed line is starting at a -3 right there, right? Now I just got to see the slope for all of these problems. For the dashed line here, from here to this next point is down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. That's just -1. Got to have an x in your answer, okay? For the solid line, it is up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, so it's just 2x, okay? Over here, the dashed line is down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. It's actually -1x there too. And this is up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Well, that worked out kind of nice, okay? Man, you couldn't see any of that. I'm going to try that again. For this line, it starts at 4 on the dashed line, and it goes down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. That's how I got -1 here, right? Now I could check. If I went to graph this line, I would start at 4, go down 1 over 1. Yep, that works out. For the solid line, I'd start at 4, and I would go, again, from there up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So that's how I got this 2. And again, you could check it. Did I start at 4, and do I have a slope of 2? Start at 4, go up 6. Yep, that makes sense. Then I test 0, 0. Okay, in the dashed line, that's this one, that's shaded all of this here. So it needs to work. 0, 0 needs to be in the solution. 0, 4. To make this work, my sign must point at the little one, or alligator eats the 4. And so that goes in here. Right here, 0 and 4. For the solid line though, right, that's this one, it's away from 0. So it needs to not work. For this to not work, I would say that. That makes it a false statement, and so it is greater than, but also equal to, because it's a solid line, okay? Come back to this one. The dashed line started at -3, and it went down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. That's how I got the -1. Again, where we start is here. The slope goes here. And then I test 0 in there, and 0 minus 3 is -3. And again, for this dashed line, look up here. It's all of this. So that means it has to work, which means it has to be like that. Boom, okay? For this one, again, I started at 3, and I went up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and so on. So that's how I got the 2x, and 3 is where it started. And I test 0. And again, for this line, okay, I need it to not work, because 0, 0 is not in the solution. So for this to not work, I would just go like that. And so I get greater than or equal to for my solution on that one, okay? All right. Last problem down here. For one to stay eligible for a scholarship, he must earn at least $1,200, and at most this. So for at least, that means 12x has to be greater than or equal to 1,200, because he must make $1,200 or more. How do I solve that? Well, real easy. Just divide by 12, so you get at least 100 hours. For the at most part, he can't make over 4,800 or he loses his scholarship. So 12x, because again, it's 12 per hour. That's why I'm using 12x. If it was 13 per hour, you'd put 13x. If it was 5 an hour, you'd put 5x, and so on. And it has to be at most 4,800. That's less than or equal to, because it can be 4,800, but it can't be anything more than that. It has to be less than or equal to that. And again, if I just divide both sides by 12 here, I get 400 hours for that problem. Okay? So hopefully this is enough. This is about 15 minutes worth of tape like I thought it would be. After you're done with this, you're going to take the quiz today. Hopefully you get a chance to watch this on Tuesday night and not just for the first time Wednesday, but it'll be available for both. You will watch this Wednesday. Good luck. See you tomorrow.